just go over. Okay. Hi, my name's Kaylee Conlon, and okay, so most of you probably know popular athletes of our generation, Michael Jordan, Shaun White, Peyton Manning. Let me get a raise of hands. How many of you have ever heard of the golfer Francis Ouimet? Anyone? Well, Francis Ouimet was the first amateur to win a U.S. Open. Against many odds, he took on two of the world's biggest names in golf and showed that believing in yourself can take you far. Some wonder about my credibility. Why would I know anything about this topic? Well, I've been a golfer pretty much my whole life, and I've also read the book The Greatest Game Ever Played by Mark Frost. It was published around 2005, and it's based off of his life. So today, I would really like to share his story and at least give you an insight on an athlete that most people don't know about. So first, I'm going to talk about his back history, and then I'm going to talk about how the game he played, how it was just really crazy and why it's so famous. So let's take a trip back to the early 1900s, Brooklyn, Massachusetts. It's on a town like on the outskirts of Boston, and Francis was a really small boy who had nothing other than a gift. And in these times, golf was really only played by the wealthy and rich people. His family was really poor, so his father was a working man that was just struggling to get by, and he wasn't a fan of golf because of the people who played it. And they lived across the street from the country club. And according to USGA.org, he had an older brother who caddied along with Francis, and since they couldn't afford to actually be members, they made their own holes in their backyard and practiced that way and used old clubs, and that's how they practiced and got better. And so in 1913, he was asked to play in the U.S. Open by the president of the United States Golf Association, but at first he turned it down because his dad was really focused on him bringing home money for his family, and the pressure was kind of put on him not to play golf because his father just kind of thought it was a game. But eventually he changed his mind and decided to go into the Open. And so now we fast forward to the morning of the Open. Francis is 20 at this point, and they didn't even give him a caddy. He showed up and all the caddies were taken and he was kind of left alone. And the only person who offered to help him was a 10-year-old boy named Eddie. And so it was really out of the ordinary for an amateur to even be in the U.S. Open to begin with back then, and then to have a caddy that was a 10-year-old child was even weirder. So at the time, the two biggest names in the sport were Harry Vardon and Ted Ray, and to play against them was crazy because they were like world-renowned and everybody knew who they were. And so they played for 4 days, 18 holes every day, and so 72 holes, and the three of them were tied afterwards. And so it was crazy because nobody thought that Francis would even be in the running to win in the first place. So they had the next morning they had to have a tie-off round to see who would win. And the weather was crazy through this whole period. It was just back and forth, like really weird weather. And eventually Ted Ray dropped out because he kept on falling behind and he just knew he wasn't going to win. And so it came down to the final couple holes, and it was just head-to-head, Vardon and Ouimet just going at it, and Francis ended up winning. So it was really cool. So winning the U.S. Open not only changed the sport of golf, but it changed the world of sports in general. And to this day, the match of 1913 is remembered as one of the greatest in history, and it immediately changed America afterwards because more people started playing golf and playing sports in general and just recognizing that world. And it was cool because Eddie and Francis stayed lifelong friends, and later on in life they became ambassadors for the sport, which was pretty cool. And so to wrap things up, Francis won against huge odds and made a major impact on our society through his achievements. And I have a picture. It's kind of hard to see because it's back from a long time ago. But this is Eddie, his little 10-year-old caddy. And then Francis is back here, and it was after he won because they like lifted him up and everything. It was cool. So thank you.